Today, we'll be revisiting a ray of hope from 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals established by the UN. We'll be focusing in on Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Here is Curtis Champion to explain what that means.
Decent work and economic growth is founded on sustained growth, inclusion and decent work, and environmental integrity. In recent times, the economy has been declining by about 1 to 2% GDP per capita, made worse by COVID, potentially putting it down to 4.2%. Decent work has also been made worse by COVID with high rates of unemployment. For sustainability, environmental degradation and economic growth have been hypothesized to be decoupled, which may be true in the UK, but globally, CO2 emissions and GDP per capita are still very closely linked.
Now that we know what that means, let's take a look at some real-world applications with Sierra.
The success of the collaboration between SDG 8's three pillars varies from region to region. Europe, excluding the former USSR, only accounts for about 9% of global carbon emissions despite being one of the largest global economies. This success is likely attributed to the EU, a regional political and economic alliance that has spent years restoring the environment after the region destroyed and exploited its natural resources during the Industrial Revolution. Currently, the EU aims to phase out coal production by 2031, and their Green New Deal aims to make Europe the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. China is currently where Europe was in the past, as their reliance on coal to fuel their rapid and unregulated economic growth has come at the expense of the environment. However, China is now faced with the challenge to maintain its economic growth while implementing environmental protection laws and advancing green energy. Despite the success in Europe, many environmental policies push carbon dioxide producing industries to developing countries with lower pollution, health, and labor standards. The EU is also heavily reliant on metal imports from Latin America, a region regularly exploited for its abundance of natural resources, leading to their struggle to maintain economic growth along with environmental integrity. These overseas impacts are not included in Europe's calculation of environmental integrity, raising the question on the real success of the collaboration of the three pillars in this region.
Over to Eva.
Now, you might wonder, what will this goal look like in the future? Creating safe and healthy work environment is essential, and I am positive we can be hopeful that such targets will be attained. Social norms are evolving and people are demanding better. However, this goal also focuses heavily on increased GDP, which, with the intensive extraction of resources and exploitation of land and people that often comes along with, is not the most sustainable. Maybe focusing on producing better rather than producing more should be brought to the table.
Great. Let's get Camille to wrap this up for us.
Decent work and economic growth are essential to our societies. While in some cases development is linked with increased sustainability, in other cases quite the opposite is true. Measuring development is a complicated business, and we must be critical of the indices used. Data can be misleading, as those benefiting from resource extraction are rarely those who face its consequences. Globalism has joined together our economies, but the social and environmental costs remain largely disparate. Infinite growth isn't possible on a finite planet. While resource consumption is necessary at some level to support a base standard of living, we must not exceed the limits of our ecosystems in pursuit of development.